Yeah.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And they say that you can't be what you can't see, and I couldn't be happier for young girls around Australia who are today blessed with a multitude of female athletes at the very top of their sports. The Matildas had us up all night watching them at World Cup in France, led by an electric Sam Kerr, recently named Best International Women's Footballer for the second consecutive year. Meanwhile, Sally Fitzgibbon has been dominating a sport that's hugely popular in my electorate of Newcastle, fighting at the top of surfing's world rankings in a tight duel with Carissa Moore. And last month, Ash Barty became #1 in the world in women's tennis, the first Australian woman to do so since fellow Indigenous Australian Yvonne Goolagong-Cawley topped the WTA rankings in 1976. 43 years is a long time to wait, but the honour of being ranked #1 in the world couldn't have gone to a more deserving athlete. Congratulations, Ash. Then there's Hannah Green, who broke Australia's 13-year drought to become the third Australian woman to win a golf major, and our women's 8 crew that won gold at the Rowing World Cup. I was thrilled to watch the Wallaroos open their test season with a 34-5 victory over Japan at Newcastle's #2 sports ground earlier this month. Hundreds of young female rugby players from their local clubs watched from the sidelines in awe, as did many of the men's rugby clubs and fans from across the region. I'd also like to take this opportunity to say how proud we are of our Australian netball diamonds, who suffered a heartbreaking 1-point loss to the Silver Ferns last week in the World Cup final. But they can, of course, hold their heads high. They remain absolute champions. And as a member of the parliamentary netball team, along with my colleague, the member for Lawler here, we're used to losses to our Kiwi sisters, although, truth be told, it's not usually within a point. While these superstars deserve all the credit they get, it's important that we also acknowledge the teams that support all the athletes, of course, those coaches, the managers, the nutritionists, the families, friends and fans. And what these elite athletes have proven is that there is a growing audience hungry for women's sports, and increased formal support will lead to increased success at all levels. In a world where equal pay between genders in sport is always argued in terms of commercial investment and market size, these Australian women are over-delivering and outgrowing expectations. As Katrina Kaiser of Cricket Australia recently argued in the Sydney Morning Herald, saying players shouldn't be paid because they don't bring in the money is just punishing them for a historical underinvestment. More and more Australians are turning to women's sport, captivated by both talent and spirit. Indeed, a Nelson survey last year found that Aussies were tuning into women's sports because they found it more inspiring than the men's equivalent. State-of-the-art facilities are becoming available, and I was pleased that there's bipartisan support around the construction of a multi-million-dollar investment for a new permanent home for our Matildas. But I look forward to the day when the Matildas don't have to deliver pizza or drive an Uber to make ends meet while playing professional football. Australian women are flying high in their chosen sports. They should be getting paid properly too. Investing in women's sport can only deliver a greater return, giving women's athletes more goals to kick, more boundaries to clear, more stadiums to pack, more prime TV slots to fill. If we back in our women's athletes, embed a commitment to gender equality in everything we do in sports, and we will succeed time and time again. Then we can keep watching as those young girls sitting in the stands, watching at home, picking up a ball or a board or a racket, do exactly the same. There will be many opportunities for further glory in the coming weeks and months, but for now I want to give a big shout-out to the Australian 4x200 metres and 4x100 women's relay teams for winning gold at the Swimming World Champions in Korea last week, and indeed setting a new world record for one of those teams. Next year, the Australian women's cricket team will compete at home in the T20 World Cup, and the world will be watching. Cricket has taken great strides towards greater pay equity recently, and I've got no doubt that further sporting success will follow. With 6 out of every 10 Aussie kids taking up cricket today being female, the investment has already paid off. Success breeds success, and I couldn't be more proud of all the female athletes currently smashing records and expectations worldwide. That's why the Morrison Liberal government should be investing in local grassroots sporting projects, like the redevelopment of the #1 sports ground in Newcastle so we can host women's cricket matches in regional cities like Newcastle, and the construction of competition-standard indoor netball courts for the Newcastle Netball Association. That's where it all starts. It's time we take gender parity in Australian sport seriously.